What is up, Pacer Nation? Welcome to the Pacer Pulse podcast, the heartbeat of Indiana basketball. And what do you know, Pacer Nation? We are on a two-game winning streak. We beat the Heat 123-99, and it was never really close, to be honest. I mean, they got it within like 7, I think was the closest they got. So, yeah, they brought it within striking distance, but then we answered back with some made threes. I think like 3 made threes in a row to really push the lead back up to like 19 plus, and then it just never got close again from there. But we really set the tone in the first quarter. Andrew Nembhard had a phenomenal game, and he really carried us on a Siakam off night. And then we just had balanced scoring. We had like 7+ guys that scored in double digits. And I want to shout out Jarace Walker too. This is one of his best all around games that he's had so far this season, where he was making an impact on defense. He was rebounding the ball, passing the ball, not really making any silly mistakes. He was hitting his shots. Just an all-around complete game from Jarace Walker, and it was just awesome to see. But we ended up beating the Heat, like I said, 123-99. And what really set the tone was that first quarter, where we were up by like 18 after the end of the first quarter, and the Heat just had a hard time coming back after that. And I want to give credit to our defense too. Our offense was just humming and looking really good. We were moving the ball, and you could just tell our guys were determined to come out and just win this game. Like they played with that fire tonight, with that energy that you really need. And honestly, the Heat too, they just missed about every single shot they threw up tonight. It was awful. I think I might be wrong on this, but they might have shot like 11% from 3 to end this game. So it was a combination of great offense, great defense on our part too, but also they were just like missing every shot. So I want to give our team credit though. It was an awesome win. Great to see 2 wins in a row. And don't worry, Tank. Everybody that's a pro Tank, don't worry. I mean, we can win 8 games and still be tied for the worst record in the NBA. We're right there with the Kings now, who are like 8-30, something like that. So, yeah, so we're going to be all right tank-wise as long as we don't win too many games. But it is great to see some wins every now and then, guys. So how I like to do this, if you guys have heard the podcast before, I like to break it down quarter by quarter, see with the good and the bad that I saw throughout this game. And I'll start off with a starting lineup tonight. So we go small ball tonight, and I think that's just to match what the Heat were doing, because they started like Bam Adebayo, Aaron Wiggins, Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, and Davion Mitchell. So a smaller lineup than what we're used to like normally facing. So I think that's why we went with like a smaller lineup to kind of match that. So we started Siakam, we started Furphy, Neesmith, Quentin Jackson, and Andrew Nembhard. And I do think it's smart to start another point guard next to Nembhard, kind of give another guy that can create with a ball in his hands. I know Jackson's not like a pure point or anything, but at least give somebody that can handle the ball and kind of make some things happen with the ball in their hands. And I kind of like Furphy at the 4 idea. It was interesting to see, and I thought he had a phenomenal game too. I want to shout him out too. Been loving all the development I've been seeing from Furphy. His shot is starting to be more, he's starting to have more confidence in his 3-point shot. He's not hesitating to shoot as much. He's just like letting it rip, and he's starting to get him to go. So I love what I've seen from Furphy, and I hope to see that continued development. So starting off this game, Siakam had an entry pass steal and a layup in transition. Quentin Jackson had a steal and a pass to Furphy, who passes to Nembhard for a layup. So we were just, like I said, we were just getting the ball moving. Our defense was solid at first too. Like we had back-to-back steals, I think, on possessions early on against the Heat. And you could tell we were just locked in on both ends of the court. And then Nembhard, he had a pass to Quentin Jackson in transition for 2. And then, like I wrote here, we were just getting out and running early. Like we were just really made a point of emphasis to get out on the fast break and score easy transition points. And we were really doing that a lot. And then Furphy, he hits a 3. And like I said earlier, he was just shooting with confidence lately. It's just, like I said, he's not hesitating. He's just putting it up, not even thinking about it. And I think that's why he's starting to see his shots start to fall a little more, because he's not in his head like he was before. He's starting to finally just not think about it, let all the hard work he's been putting in show by just shooting it, and you're going to get the results you want. But then Siakam, he had a drive and kick to Nembhard for a 3. And at this point, we were on like a 7-0 run with like 8 minutes left in the first quarter. And then we extended that to like a 10-3 run. And the offense was just really flowing early on. Really great ball movement. Everybody was touching the ball. It was really good to see. And then Jarace, he saves a possible turnover with like a hustle. He just like it was like a possible turnover. He almost lost the ball, but he fought for it like continuously for like a minute straight. It felt like where he finally ended up with the ball and like passed it to Furphy, who got a dunk. So it was just it really set the tone. I felt like this play for Walker early in this game, just the hustle he was showing, and like if you're not gonna do if you're gonna kind of mess up in a lot of other areas, at least you're hustling and doing that. But like Walker was phenomenal tonight. I want to give him all his props. If you guys have heard my past podcasts about a lot of the trade ones too, I pretty much include Jarace Walker in just about every trade proposal that I come up with. So I'm not off that, but I do want to give him his flowers because he was awesome tonight. And then Furphy, he had another three. The defense was just looking solid too. And Pacers, we were on a 15-3 run at this point, and then a 17-3 run. We just kept extending that run. And then TJ, he comes in, hits the midi, and at this point, we were on a 21-5 run. Like the Heat were just missing everything. Defense was locked in. We were firing on all cylinders on offense. And then TJ, he had a corner three, in which his three is starting to fall a little more lately too, which I don't want him to hesitate. I just want him to shoot it, and he's kind of been the same way where he'll hesitate sometimes. But lately, he's just been letting it go, and it's been working out for him. And then Walker, he had a reckless drive for a turnover. So the one play I kind of saw this game where I was like, like Walker, what are you doing? But all in all, he had a phenomenal game. And it shows if you look at the minutes played, I think he led the team, which I know he played a minute or two in garbage time. So he was like pretty much tied with Nembhard for the most minutes on the team. And rightfully so. He deserved it. He deserved every minute tonight. He was awesome. And then Huff, he came in, had a nice block. Shepard, he had a three, which continues to shoot pretty well from three. Awesome to see. And then by far, like our best quarter of the season. Like we were just, I mean, firing all cylinders. That's all I can really say and like how to put it. But like our defense was on point, offense was just humming, and we were on like a 27-7 run at one point in the first quarter. And we were up by 18 after the first quarter. Like I said earlier, like that the first quarter really set the tone for this entire game. And I think even Rick mentioned that at one point where he was saying how first quarters really set the tone for the entire game nowadays in the NBA, he was saying. So I think they really make it a point of emphasis, even though we don't always follow that up with like the best performances in the following quarters. But this game we did. But after the first quarter, like I said, we were up 36-18. And we were shooting 46% from the field, 42 from three. And the Heat were shooting 25% from the field, 0% from three. So, like, they couldn't put the ball in the ocean tonight. It was awful. So, I want to give credit to our defense for sure, because we definitely forced some hard shots. But also, they were just, like, missing everything. It was bad. And they literally had 1 assist to our 12 assists in the first quarter. I don't know if I've ever really seen that, or it's been a long time. But that is a huge difference. And rebounding battle, it was pretty even. They had 15. We had 16. Offensive rebounds were even at 3 each. We had 4 steals to their 1. They had 2 blocks to our 1. Turnovers, they had 4. We had 1. Then we had 6 points off turnovers. They had 0. Bench points were pretty even. We had 10. They had 8. Points in the paint were pretty even. We had 10. They had 12. And then after the first quarter, Nembhard, early 10 points. He was electrifying this game. He was awesome. And it's cool whenever he's like having these games where he's hitting all his shots and stuff, because you could tell it clicks every other aspect of his game. And when he's hitting his shots, you can almost guarantee he's going to have a pretty solid all-around game. And I thought he played decent defense on Tyler Hero, too, who struggled a little bit tonight. He might have been their leading scorer, but still, like, it wasn't easy. But like I said, Nembhard had 10 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Quentin Jackson, 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, a steal. D. Smith, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Furphy, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Siakam, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. Shepard, 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Jarace, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. McConnell, 5 points, 2 assists, 1 steal. Micah Potter, 2 points. J Huff, 2 rebounds, 1 block. And pretty balanced overall like effort from the team, especially tonight in general. But even after the first quarter, everybody was contributing in positive ways. And there's not really anyone in this game tonight where I would just be like, oh, they played awful. So that's always great to see, like just all around the whole team kind of just upping their game and playing at a high level. But going into the second quarter, Quentin Jackson, he had a nice uh, cut and pass from Nembhard, so it was just like another beautiful pass from Nembhard, where Jackson hit like a little teardrop. And then Walker, he hit a three. Nembhard hit the mid-range shots. Then Nembhard had a steal and a fast break finish. So we were just getting like tons of steals this game and getting out, like just getting out in transition. And I miss that with the old team where we were always getting out in transition. We were always looking to push the ball any like chance we could. And it's really starting to feel like we're starting to do that again a little bit. And I think it helps with some of these lineups where we have guys that are willing to like just get out and run. And especially with tonight's lineup where we had a smaller lineup with Siakam at the 5, we should be doing that all game. And we were up like 25 points in the second quarter with like 9 minutes left in the second. And Siakam, he had a pass cutting Furphy inside for 2. Just Furphy is like, it's like such an underrated part of his game, like his cutting, and he's only going to get better with it too. And it just shows how much more he can fit in this system with his spot up 3, shooting, getting better, running out in transition, his cutting, and he's got a hard nose for the ball with rebounds, and he makes the right plays. I'm a big fan of Furphy if you haven't noticed, I guess, but I know he has his flaws still, but he's only getting better and better. And then the Heat, they went on like a little run here. They went on a 9-2 run in like a 3-minute stretch with like 6 minutes left to go in the second. And then they were on like a 12-2 run. And then Walker kind of silenced some of that run. He hit a 3. Then Potter hit a 3. So then the Heat, they were only on like a 15-8 run. And then they went on to like a 17-8 run. So they were kind of extending that run they were heading on, trying to make a comeback. But thank goodness we had like that cushion from the first quarter where we had outscored them by 18. And then Nembhard, he had a tip, or Neesmith, excuse me, had a tip in offensive rebound off a Furphy miss. And then Furphy had nice defensive play on Norman Powell, but then he had a turnover that led to a layup. So just a little rough sequence from Furphy, but I loved the defensive stop on Powell. And then it was just a rough turnover, but he's a young player. He's going to make mistakes. And then Nembhard, he had a layup, and then Walker had a nice block on Jaime Jaquez. So at the end of the second quarter, we were up 61-45. So we had a 16-point lead still. Even if like the Heat kind of came back in that second quarter some and like went on their own little run, still wasn't enough. We still, after that first quarter, it was going to be hard for them to come back. But we were shooting 43% from the field, 32% from 3. They were shooting 37% from the field, 8% from 3. So pretty awful shooting numbers. This is almost jarring. We had 21 assists at halftime. They had 6. That is a huge difference, and that just shows like how much we were moving the ball tonight and just really getting open shots for guys, and guys were just cutting, making the right plays at the right time. It was great basketball tonight. The rebounding was even, or pretty even. We had 29, they had 28. Offensive rebounds, we had 7, they had 5. We had 6 steals to their 3, 2 blocks to their 3, and then we had 5 turnovers, they had 8, and points off turnovers, we had 10 and they had 8, so they kind of evened that up. Because we kind of started making some sloppy turnovers in this quarter, too. And then bench points, we had 19, they had 15. Points in the paint, they were beating us. They had 28, we had 22. And then at halftime, Nembhard, he had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Quentin Jackson, 4 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. Neesmith, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Johnny Furphy, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So really great Furphy game. Siakam, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He kind of had like a rough night tonight, but I think he had like Bam on him a lot too, and him playing the 5, it was just going to wear him out a little more. But he had a like off shooting night, but we didn't really need him like to go off at the same time because Nembhard really carried, and just we had all around balanced scoring in this game, and that's kind of what we remember seeing the old Pacers way last year, where we had like 7 guys scoring in double digits. And then Ben Shepherd, he had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. Walker, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. J Huff, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. TJ McConnell, 5 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, a steal. Micah Potter, 5 points, 2 rebounds. So going into the third quarter here, guys, we started at like the third quarter pretty rough, and I was kind of getting worried. I'm like, man, is this gonna be one of those awful quarters where we just don't hit any shots, our defense falls off a cliff, the Heat go on some crazy 20-0 run, not to that extreme, I guess, but you know what I'm saying. We've seen it too many times with the Pacers this year where we give up like these terrible quarters where we just forget how to put the ball in the basket, how to play defense, and teams just always can come back or extend a lead, but we didn't do that, thankfully. But it started off rough in the third quarter, but we had some sloppy turnovers to start the third. Miami, they were only down 12 at one point. Like I said, at the beginning of this pod, they brought it within like 7, I think, at one point, and that was the closest they got, but then we quickly extended that lead again and kind of answered their run. But at this point, now Miami was only down 10 in the third quarter, and we were just struggling on offense and defense, like really looking disjointed, and the Heat were just kind of getting what they wanted. And Siakam, he had an offensive foul and gets his 4th foul in the third quarter. So you basically don't see Siakam for most of the third quarter because he had 4 fouls somehow in the third quarter. Like I think he had like 2 offensive ones alone. It was just very bizarre, like foul calls on him. But he got a quick 4 in the third quarter, so he didn't play almost the rest of that quarter after that. And then the Heat, they were on like a 9-0 run, and Nesmith, he had a drive and finish to kind of answer that. And then we were just going ice cold, couldn't make anything or get any good shots for that matter. But then all of a sudden we started raining some threes. Potter hit a much needed 3-point shot whenever the Heat were going on like such a good run. And then Nembhard hit a 3 to put us up by 13 at that point after the Potter 3 and Nembhard 3. And then Potter, he had an offensive foul for a turnover. Like I said, too many sloppy turnovers in the third. And then just way too many. Like it really kind of cost us the quarter almost, but we answered at least. And then Nembhard, he had a spin move and finish inside. Nembhard had a steal, and then Nesmith hit the 3. And then Nembhard had a 3. Then Potter had a 3. We had like 4 different threes in a row almost, and it really helped extend the lead again. We had 5 threes in that third quarter alone, and the Pacers, we were now up by like 19 at that point. So that little 3-point barrage we had there really helped extend the lead again. We were on like a 17-5 run at this point. TJ, he had a drive and finish for 2. Nembhard, he had another 3. And then Nesmith had a drive and gets the and 1. And TJ, he had a crazy layup finish. It was very awkward looking and weird, but he somehow snuck in there and did his little TJ kind of like jump shot in there, but it was a good finish. I don't know how else to really describe it. But the Pacers, we were on a 21-2 run. And then Walker had a 3. We were just really laying it on the Heat pretty much the entire game. Like they almost had false hope getting like going on that run here in this quarter, and then we just shut that up completely. We were on 24-5 run. Walker, he had a drive and finish with the left hand. Huff had a reverse behind the head dunk that whenever he does these, they just look so unnatural because whenever it's in real time, it's just like, what did he just do? But he basically just like had a reverse dunk on the other side of the rim and like reached behind his head because he can just palm the ball that well. But it was a beautiful drive and finish. And if you've seen the game, Huff had so many of those this game. But he continues to just be impressive with that. And so after the end of the third quarter, we were up 99-72, and we were shooting 47% from the field, 44 from 3, so still shooting lights out. Heat 38% from the field, 10% from 3. So they've kind of continued their poor shooting the entire game. Assists, they had 9 assists, excuse me. We had 30. We had 30 to their 9 assists. That is unreal. And really explains why we won this game too. Like we were just sharing the ball, like everybody was passing the ball, getting everyone involved. It was just great basketball. And then rebounds, we had 41, they had 37. So we were winning that. We had 10 offensive rebounds, they had 8. We had 9 steals to their 3. We had 2 blocks to their 3. We had 12 turnovers, they had 14. And then we had 22 points off turnovers, so they had 17. Bench points, we were winning that by quite a bit. We had 36, they had 22. Points in the paint, they were winning it, 42 to our 34, but pretty close, so you can't complain. And then Nembhard, he had 27 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals after the end of the third quarter. Just phenomenal game, awesome game. And then Quentin Jackson, 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. Nesmith, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a rough shooting night, but he was really doing all these other things that impact winning, so I'm not going to knock him for that. And then Furphy, he had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Siakam, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. Jarace Walker, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block. He really stepped up and like in the midst of like Siakam kind of struggling to shoot and then having those fouls. Like I said earlier, Jarace Walker, awesome game. Like him and Nembhard both were easily the ones that shined the most. And they really helped carry us to this win. I mean, it was all around team effort, of course. Everybody played great. But those two like really stood out the most. Ben Shepherd, 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal. TJ, 9 points, 1 rebound, 6 assists, a steal. Micah Potter, 11 points, 4 rebounds. Continues to contribute. And I'm slowly getting to the point where I'm like, even after we get our starting center, I would love to keep Micah Potter on the team as like a second to third string center, whichever way you want to have him and Huff. But I would love to have him on the team still. I've been impressed with what he's done. I know he's not like obviously a starting center, but he can be a contributing center on a playoff team, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just saying that because I don't know, we're so bad that like I'm taking all this in like to extreme levels and like maybe it's not realistic. I mean, he is on the worst team in the NBA, but I've been liking what I see from Potter. And then Jay Huff, he had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. So going into the fourth, we pretty much just had a giant lead in the fourth quarter. It was never really close. And with like 4 minutes left or so, we kind of put the bench guys in. The Heat did as well, like with 7 or 8 minutes left. So really, it was never close, but I'll highlight a few things in the fourth. Huff, he had a pass fake and drive for a monster slam. It almost looked MJ. I know I'm not comparing to MJ, just the way he like stretched out after he had the pass fake and drive and stretched out to finish. That's what it kind of reminded me of, even though obviously he is not Michael Jordan. Please don't ever quote me on that. I just mean the way it looked. It was like an awesome dunk. And then TJ, he had a three. Nembhard had a lob to Jay Huff, who finishes inside. And then Walker had a pass to Siakam on the fast break for 2. Walker had another steal, just highlighting his all-around game tonight. Then Huff had a drive and finish with the reversal layup, which was nice to see. He's got a decent little off-the-dribble game, which is surprising. And Cam Jones finally got in the game too with like 4 minutes left. And he had a nice spin move and like finish inside with his left hand. He had a rough turnover, had a rebound or so, but I want to continue to see more Cam Jones minutes. I'm still going to push for that because we got to see what we have in him. And I kind of hope we get to the point where we realize, hey, like, obviously we're not going to make the playoffs. I think we all know that. I know we don't want to just lose games on purpose, but I think we'll start to, like, see games where we see TJ sitting a game or two here and there. And then I hope Cam Jones gets all those minutes in. And I just want to see what he's got. I know maybe I'm too high on Cam Jones, or maybe I just want to see what he can do. I want to see what he can do on the basketball court. I don't think he has bad defense either. He was actually guarding Yakachonis, the Miami Heat's first-round pick, and I thought he was actually defending him well in the minutes. I know it was garbage time, but like I thought he was staying in front of him pretty well and made him like forced a lot of missed shots on Yakachonis. I was impressed. I mean, I just want to see more of it. That's all I'm saying, Pacer Nation. That's where I'll end on it. But to end this game, like I said, we won 123-99. So I like to break down like the quarter, like the show who won each quarter. So we outscored the Miami Heat by 18 in the first, 36-18. And then the second quarter, the Heat beat us by 2. They had 27 points. We had 25. And then we outscored the Heat by 11 in the third, 27-38. And then the Heat outscored us by 3 in the fourth, 27-24. But you could see where the first quarter really, I mean, it made the game never like really close besides that little run the Heat went on in the third. But other than that, it was never close after that. So to end this game, we shot 45% from the field, 43 from 3. Awesome shooting. You'll take that any day, especially from 3. That's lights out. The Miami Heat shot 39% from the field, 13 from 3. And you could tell they just seemed like they were hating life all game. They couldn't put the ball in the ocean. It was so bad, and they just couldn't hang with us. We had 37 assists tonight, guys, and the Heat has 17. I mean, how many times are you seeing teams getting close to 40 assists in a game? That's how much the ball was humming and moving, and guys were just passing the ball, being unselfish. It was a beautiful brand of basketball. It kind of reminded you of like last year a little bit. A little bit. I'm not saying fully, but it was just awesome to see like a glimpse of that again. And then the rebounds, we had 54, they have 51, so we won that battle tonight. Offensive rebounds, we had 12, they had 11. Steals, we had 13 to their 6. Blocks, we had 4, they had 5. Turnovers, we had 18, they had 19. Points off turnovers, though. We had 27, they had 19. So we really capitalized on those. And bench points, we have 55, they have 47. Points in the paint, they have 58, we have 44. So we continue to kind of always get beat in that category. And, I mean, obviously, like tonight, it didn't matter because we hit way more threes than the Heat. And then to end this game, Nembhard, player of the game by far, 29 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals. Great game from Nembhard. I love when he has these games, and I just wish that he would be more consistent with it. And like sometimes he has those off shooting nights where he doesn't hit anything. And it's a long NBA season, and he's a young player still growing. So But I just really want to like give him his props for this game. He really set the tone, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have won the way we did, I think. So amazing Andrew Nembhard game. And then Quentin Jackson, 6 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. Neesmith, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Johnny Furphy, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Awesome Furphy game, too. Siakam, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block. Didn't really have to do too much this game. And he was off tonight, but like I said, Nembhard carried. Walker really filled in, like, for what Siakam may have been lacking, too. And then Jarace Walker, like I said, led the team in minutes this game. And we've seen from Jarace where, like, he had 13 minutes the game before, I think, in the entire game. There was that one game against the Magic where he literally didn't play the entire second half. So we do see where Rick, he will reward these guys if they're playing well, playing the right way. And I even get lost in that sometimes because I'm like, just let them play through mistakes and develop, because we got to see what we have in these guys, and they got to learn through mistakes too. So I still believe in that some. But he will reward guys if they're playing well, and he did with Jarace tonight, who had a great all-around game. But Walker finished with 13 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and a block. So great offensive, defensive game, rebounding the ball, assisting. Just one of the best Jarace Walker games of the season, I would say. And then Ben Shepherd, 3 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. J Huff, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. TJ McConnell, 12 points, 1 rebound, 7 assists, a steal. So classic TJ, always in 17 minutes, 12 and 7. I mean, what else can you ask for from a backup point guard? Still the best backup point guard in the league, in my opinion. And then Micah Potter, 14 points and 4 rebounds in 16 minutes. Really contributed. Really was hitting his threes tonight. I know he hit at least 3 threes that I know of. And just continues to be solid. It continues to probably be our best shooting center by far that we have. So, and I like that he can play the 4 a little bit too, and like bigger lineups if we ever have another starting center, like a legit one. He could play next to them at times. I like his versatility. I do. So I do hope we can keep him, and maybe even as like that third string center. I'm sure we'll let Tony Bradley go at some point, but really been impressed with Micah Potter. Then Cam Jones, like I said, he played like 4 minutes in this game, but he did have a nice basket, and then he did have a good rebound. And so the plus minus leaders too, if you guys care about that. Andrew Nembhard, plus 27, second highest on the team. Just if you watched the game, you would know. Then he had 0 turnovers too, to 9 assists. I mean, phenomenal. Shot 10 of 16, 4 of 7 from 3. Beautiful Nembhard game. Quentin Jackson, plus 15. Neesmith, plus 16. Didn't shoot well, but overall, great impact. Furphy, plus 2. Siakam, plus 9. Didn't shoot well either, but didn't matter. But Jarace Walker, plus 31 in this game. The highest plus minus in this game right now. And I know I've thrown him a lot of shade. I still would like to trade him at the deadline, because as much as I like get excited about these kind of performances from Jarace, it's just hard to like latch onto it so much, because we see the roller coaster. But I'm definitely going to give him his flowers and his props. Like, best overall game that he's probably had like all year in terms of putting it all together on the offensive end and defensive end. And he only had 1 turnover. So, and shooting the ball well. Easily his most complete game of the season. I'm sorry, but I don't even think it's close. I don't. I think that if you watch this game and you saw it, you could tell he made a lot of awesome plays tonight. A lot of good like defensive plays at the rim, contesting shots, just getting his hands in the passing lanes, getting steals, hitting his shots, making the right play, like passing plays, rebounding the ball. I mean, like I said, if we could get this Jarace all the time, I mean, that would be who we had always hoped to get with that 8th pick. What we always hoped to see. So that's what is so rough with Jarace sometimes is you see like these moments and you visualize, hey, this is what this guy can be, but it's just never consistently there. So I hope he can consistently put together like performances like this and really take advantage of this opportunity with Matherin being out right now too. He's going to get the opportunity. He just has to take control of it and take the reins on it. And then Ben Shepherd was a plus 9. J Huff a 0. So at least not bad. TJ McConnell plus 7. Micah Potter plus 16. So another great impactful game. And then the rest of like the garbage time guys were -4, but that was garbage time. So all in all, Pacer Nation, we're 2-game win streak right now. Kind of forgot how that felt. And I forget who we play next. I forget who we play next. Let me look. As I'm looking though, like I said, just great Andrew Nembhard, Jarace Walker game. Stepped up in the midst of like Siakam really struggling this game. And like I said earlier, I just want to see Cam Jones play more. I just want to see what we got in him. So as I look it up now, Monday we play the Celtics. So going to be a tough game. And then Wednesday, the January 14th, we play the Raptors. We have somewhat of an easier game Friday, January 16th against the Pelicans, but still going to be a little rough. And then we play the Detroit Pistons on that Saturday, January 17th. So not an easy schedule coming up, guys. So I wouldn't expect a crazy win streak here, but just to win 2 games in a row, even though I really thought we were going to lose to the Heat tonight, even, I mean, to be quite honest. But I'm glad they like came out and put out this kind of performance. One of our best games of the entire season. And we at least have won 8 games now, guys. So I obviously want us to like play competitive basketball. I don't want to win too much now because of I want to have a high chance at a pick, guys. I think that's how we all feel. We all know we're not going to make the playoffs, and at some point these wins are going to be a little more detrimental than helpful. And I know it's good to like always keep that winning culture intact still, but I do think maybe especially after the All-Star break, we'll start seeing like guys starting to get rests more. Like I was saying earlier with TJ, maybe he'll start sitting more games, especially back-to-backs, and Cam Jones will play backup point more or whatever they do there. And then you never know what we do at the trade deadline. If we get a starting center at the trade deadline, I'm pretty sure they're going to try to make that happen if they can. I mean, that really the trade market dictates that, and if teams are willing to like make a deal, but we'll see what happens on that front. And I'm going to continue to keep an eye out, give you guys content for that. And yeah, so it's just going to be a rough stretch here this next 4 games, but if we play like what we did tonight, we can hang with any of these guys. I mean, I'm not really afraid of. I mean, we are playing 2 of the best teams in the East, in the Celtics and the Pistons at some point. But I think we could do it, guys. We just got to see, and like if we keep the ball moving like we did tonight, 8 assists in this game or 37, that's insane. That's such good ball movement. If we continue to crash a glass, and if guys just continue to just play with confidence, Furphy continues to shoot with confidence, Walker keeps up this play. I mean, if he does, that's a huge X factor off the bench, and maybe he's boosting his trade value too. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. I had to. I know I include him in just about every trade scenario that I think of for a starting center. And maybe he'll boost his trade value and start to show people, hey, this is what we can maybe get out of him. I don't know. But I really appreciate you guys listening, Pacer Nation. And if you guys listen on YouTube, I would love like, comment, subscribe. And it means a lot to me. And I love to hear you guys' comments on the games and whatever you're thinking about the team right now. Would love to have those talks with you guys. It's so fun to talk about this team. And I'm just a diehard fan like y'all. So would love to have that conversation. And if you listen on listening platforms, I'd really appreciate that too. If you listen on both, because it really helps my podcast grow. And if you give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I would really appreciate it too, guys. It would mean a lot to me. And I can't do this without you guys, Pacer Nation. It's just something I want to make this as like something we can all like rally behind and get to behind and have like a fan voice in this podcast, because I don't know that we need more fan voices out there from the fan perspective. And I think it's always a good thing to have. And I hope we can kind of build that community with this podcast. But I really appreciate you guys listening, Pacer Nation, and I will talk to you soon.